Hey YouTube, what's happening? For those who don't know by now, this is the Unexpected Wonder coming to you again. This time, hopefully you can read it. It's Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. This is the review of chapters 2 through 5. Now, I did a video probably about a couple weeks ago of the first chapter. I did a solo video on that one because it was just that beast and because it needed to be said, and it was either the night or the next day after I was disappointed with Naruto. After that video I did there, check that out if you want to see something funny, if you want to see maybe something controversial. Anyway, before I begin this review, okay, of the chapters, let me be clear about this. I am not a fanboy. Okay, for any haters who might be out there and start all that foolishness, I know how some folk be in the anime community on YouTube. Okay, I see how y'all be doing sometimes with some of these reviewers. This is not fanboyism. This is straight up enthusiasm. With all that being said, Shinobu Ohtaka. Shinobu Ohtaka. Now this man knows how to make a manga. He does it right. He's learned from the mistakes of others and he does it right. First of all, let me begin. These first few chapters, you know, this section. You know what this tells me? This man knows. He knows balance. He knows how to balance his manga chapters. Okay, look. First of all, look at the artwork. For those who don't know, go check out the man's artwork. When it's a dramatic scene, this man draws the clearest, best stuff you gonna see. It's up there. It's up there. It's not like the Bleach style. I'm talking about, you know, it's comparative to, I guess, One Piece. I compare it to One Piece because it reminds me of a lot of it. Different in a lot of ways, but it reminds me. Okay, because, you know, like DBZ, Dragon Ball Z, all that, you know, One Piece is, you know, it's, you know, it set the standard. So a lot of people probably gonna, you know, follow after that standard. And Magi, it followed, the Labyrinth of Magic definitely follows after that one. The artwork is on point. Like I said, with the doggone dramatic scenes, it is on point. Best stuff you'll see. With the comedic scene, it's very cartoonish. You gotta love it. He balances out the dramatic, the serious with the cartoons perfectly, or pretty much near perfectly. I mean, if you don't like this, it's just, I don't know what's for you, man. But anyway, let me get in the chapters because, you know, obviously there's 4, so there's a good amount of content here. All right, so chapter 2 starts off with Aladdin meeting this dude Alibaba. Now let me just start off on this, a little tangent. For those who are ignorant of classic and legendary literature, first we have Aladdin, now Alibaba. Aladdin, you know, 1001 Nights. Alibaba, 1001 Nights. I mean, check them out. Okay, so Shinobu Ohtaka, gotta clap for that, man. Respecting classic literature, respecting. And let me, again, a slight tangent on Ohtaka. Okay, gotta give him props for this. He fixed the mistakes the flaws of One Piece. One Piece sometimes stretches out its story. He does his manga chapters episodic. Now it's a storyline, and it's a continual adventure and it's a flow, but it's very episodic, which means the story tends to move quicker. It moves at a good pace, very good pace, excellent pace. And also, for the fact is, he made his characters and he made the world quite realistic. Now, it does have the magic of blah, 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 but it's very realistic, which you gotta love. You know, the characters are realistic. They have realistic wants and desires. So with all that, with the chapter, Alibaba, it's about 3 things you can see with this chapter. First of all, Alibaba begins as a selfish dude. Now look, we know he's probably going to be a main character because of the title. His name is Alibaba, but at the same time, you know, nothing's because of the first chapter. nothing's guaranteed, because I'm talking about Leah there, okay? For those who read the first chapter, Leah, check her out. Anyway, Alibaba, he appears to be selfish, but he has reason to be selfish. He, you know, comparing it to One Piece, he's like Nami. He's survivalistic, Usopp. But he's different, obviously. Like I said, they're different characters. He's a survivalist. He does what he got to do to survive. He's trying to keep his own hide. He is able, as is shown in the later part of the manga, to protect himself, but he ain't exactly nothing special as of yet. We don't know what it's going to be. He might get super powerful. We don't know yet. But as of yet, he's not that powerful, okay? So he's got to do what he has to do to survive. He obviously ain't rich. He's a cart driver. Now, at the same time, the second part of the chapter, what we see here is he although he's selfish, he's not totally selfish, okay? Because it shows what he values. Besides, you know, wanting first of all, his dream is dungeon diving, you know, it's adventure, it's making a name for himself, getting the riches and all that. But he wants adventure. He wants to have his life mean more than just being a poor person, okay? And also, so he values life. He values human existence. He thinks it's worth more, as shown in the whole scene where the big old creature plant thing comes out of the ground and it takes the little girl. You know, Aladdin is unable to get Ugu-kun to come out of the flute, so Alibaba, who doesn't even know about that, Alibaba jumps in action. He's like, yo, let me save this kid, you know, this young girl. And he does, but then he's in trouble. You know, he did something, and he's shown to be highly smart, which is going to be huge with Aladdin, as you can see, okay? But then, oh my goodness, the third part, Aladdin. Now, I'm so glad, again, I gotta praise Ohtaka for this one. Doggone, he didn't make Ugu-kun, okay, the Jijin, okay, his only thing. That would have been boring, and I'm so glad he did this. He gave Aladdin the ability to fly. Now, it's a trick. Don't get me wrong. He can't fly off rip, okay? It's not him. It's one of his things. And read the chapter in order to know. Anyway, Aladdin's able to fly. He does this thing, and he saves Alibaba. But in the process, both him and namely Alibaba pissed off the wine selling dude, the foe of that chapter. Anyway, and Alibaba also punched the hell out of the dude. So anyway, we jump in chapter 3, and Alibaba says he's a friend of Aladdin, and apparently, as seen before, Aladdin's huge about friends. That's his thing, man. That's his thing. He just wants friends. He wants friends more than anything else, okay? And we also see a clear picture of his goal. He wants the Dijin container. Now, we see, I'm loving how Ohtaka's doing this, because he's showing a good amount of foreshadowing. You know, it's possible right now that Aladdin actually came from one of the dungeons that Alibaba talks about. But, you know, he doesn't know it. Alibaba might think it, but he doesn't know. But Alibaba needs, the beauty about this, Alibaba needs Aladdin, because Aladdin's going to be able to provide protection when Alibaba goes dungeon hunting, okay? Dungeon digging, as he calls it, or whatever. Anyways, with that, you know, this chapter was a lot of comedic, it was a lot of comedy. Loved it. But the main points here, the main point is, like I said, the friendship thing. And Alibaba, you know, he's trying to save his skin. We see he makes Aladdin depressed because he calls Aladdin his servant. Aladdin's pissed and blah blah, depressed. He wasn't angry, but he was depressed. And until Alibaba fixes that, you know, with calling him friend and all that jazz. And then we see the funny scene at the end, and we see Aladdin being lucky. But at the same time, we see another foreshadowing, another interesting thing I caught. Alibaba, he catches something. He goes, now, is this just a kid? Because Aladdin has a lot of manly desires. I mean, you see how he loves with the women. So, that's a great foreshadowing. There's a question. Who the hell actually is Aladdin? Where did he come from? What's up with this kid? So anyways, that's chapter 3. Chapter 3 was short. Now we move on to chapter 4. Chapter 4 was an excellent chapter. Arguably the best one they've had so far. chapter 4 was in chapter 4, let me just quick with it. Chapter 4, we got, you know, them starting off an adventure, meeting the first dungeon they may go into, right? Oh, we find out it's right there at the city, which was funny. It was funny. Aladdin's expression was funny. What? We're here? But anyway, they go back into the city, and lo and behold, this is what I love about Magi. Okay, real. You know, it's talked about how because of the mistakes he's made, you know, the beef he's gotten with the chief of the city, of the oasis or whatever, you know, because of how he screwed over the wine cellar dude. I mean, the wine, you know, I guess wine cellar. Anyway, wine owner. That Alibaba is now potentially going to be a slave. It's one thing to talk about it, but there in the city, we see slavery. Bam, female and change. That was, to me, the whole point of that whole chapter. I mean, the chapter was great, don't get me wrong, but the whole point of that chapter was to talk about slavery. And again, we see Alibaba, not only for his hide, but his quote, yo. Look at his quote when he talks about how, in the world we live in, humans, some folks go to war just to get more slaves. That was such a telling philosophical thing, man. Historical. It puts you in the perspective of the world. Now, also, before I forget about that, it does the whole beginning of it does talk about the whole dungeon thing and how they first appeared. Well, Alibaba's telling Aladdin. We find that out, which was cool backstory, which we needed. It was necessary backstory. But to me, the slavery thing was the whole point of that chapter. Really, the main point. Obviously, like I said, the backstory about the dungeons, first appearing and all that jazz. But the first appearance of a dungeon. But to me, the slavery, it was beautiful. How not slavery itself. Slavery, no. I can't stand. I'm about freedom, but just about the focus of it, bringing us back, and we're not in some far off place. We're back to reality. We're back to our world, okay? And then we move into chapter 5. Chapter 5's I wouldn't say just a continuation. It's the result. It's the consequences of what happened in chapter 4, because you see in chapter 4 what Aladdin does with the slave girl. They find out. Anyways, that causes a huge commotion. And Alibaba again trying to protect her hide, but he's finding out, can't do it. And we meet an old nemesis. Not gonna tell y'all that. Y'all gotta read it. But we meet an old nemesis in chapter 5. And it finally comes down to it that the chief is seen. And he's he's younger than I expected. I ain't gonna lie. But then we also see semi-betrayal in it. Oh, it was the moment when the chief shows up, and then it shows the betrayer. I ain't gonna tell her who it is, but it shows to me it's a she. Let me just put it that way. She's a betrayer. Oh, it was a hell no moment for me. Oh, hell no. How could you? Really? Oh, but anyways, so at the end of the chapter, like I said, it was the consequences, and there's no preparation. They should have just went into the thing anyway. But Alibaba trying to be all scared and protect the, get provisions and all that blah 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 blah, finds out it doesn't work like that. But we see the beauty about this chapter. Two things besides the showcase, the display of the chief dude of the oasis, who also wants to make Alibaba a slave. Aladdin just being epic again, unscared, unfazed. I don't think I've ever seen this dude phased yet. This youngster, doggo, just in the midst of everybody. Ugu-kun, boom, get the hell up, and we going on an adventure. Oh man. So that was a review of the first of chapters 2 through 5 of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. Check it out. This is the Unexpected Wonder signing off, y'all. Peace.